Hello and welcome to the Sunday Sunset episode 5.
Is it episode 5
It's
already?
episode 5 already. Disappointing though, Polly.
Why?
Because we've got 18 subscribers on YouTube.
18. Right.
18.
Come on, you guys. We're new to the podcasting thing. Subscribe just to make us happy. Tomorrow is my birthday.
So
which
it
is
will
the
go
30th.
out on the 2nd of November. So by then she would have celebrated her birthday.
So
Doesn't celebrate.
just to say happy birthday to Polly, please could you subscribe to our channel, because it would be amazing to have you on board and get us out there.
I wonder
The
if
masses.
people go on YouTube and think we don't need to subscribe, or they think they've got to pay for it, which they don't. And also we do share it on our Facebook pages, and people probably watch it from our Facebook pages via YouTube. But yeah, subscribe. Not because we're egotistic, don't think we are, but because we do actually want subscribers, otherwise we're on here for nothing. And also it's just nice to see. So maybe they're not enjoying it, who knows? Because we have done a variety of things that sort of lead on to things about the everyday things. There's a lot of things going on.
Things, yeah.
That's because
yeah,
I was
things.
looking at Stranger Things, which is one of my favourite shows, that they've just done this great big display in London. I can't think where it is, and they've done it off the wall. I think it's one of the tubes, and it's really, so I've got Stranger Things. I've got things on my mind. I've got a lot of things on my mind. But yeah, so if you are going on YouTube, please subscribe. It is also on Spotify, and it will be going on Apple Podcast when I get my techie stuff together. But what a week we've had since last podcast. What a week.
We have had a week, and we're still getting good feedback now from our
So we're getting good feedback for that part of our week. It's just our podcast we want good feedback.
Yeah. So we ran a spiritual fair, our first spiritual fair. Having said that, our first spiritual fair, we have attended and worked on masses of spiritual fairs.
Pre-COVID, because we sort of died it off a little bit, didn't we then?
And post, yeah.
Post, yeah.
We have died down now of actually doing readings and things like that at other people's, but only because we've got so much on at the moment. We've got events galore coming up, so it makes it a little bit difficult to find that time. However, we ran our first one, and how good was it?
Well, I don't want to blow my own trumpet. But no, it was. I've got to be honest, my feet didn't touch the floor from start to finish, and I'm sure paying the price now. But I was overwhelmed with how many people were coming through that door. We set our fair up for our group, didn't we? It was to showcase our group, to showcase their skills and get them out of their comfort zone a bit, and just get them out there and get their face recognised. I cannot believe how busy they all were.
I know,
and that wasn't just us going to so and so. They really were busy. We were worried about the footfall because it's in the hall we do our group in, which we love the energy, we love the hall, and we love the area.
It's out in sticks,
but it is out in sticks, yeah. And I remember going out to take a phone call and a breather, and I looked up the lane, the country lane. There was cars everywhere, and I was thinking, I hope the neighbours not unhappy, but actually I was hoping the neighbours were in the hall at the time, so it didn't matter. The church very kindly lent us their car park, didn't they? And so both car parks were full. So I was like just standing there thinking, oh my God, this is really actually going really well. And everyone had a brilliant day, to the point they were all asking when we're going to do the next one.
And they all want to come back.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And I just was blown away for our group, but blown away because you never know of an event how it's really going to be until the doors open. So we're very pleased with ourselves.
I've got the driest eye.
She's always got. Don't you get them eye drops out again?
I've got really dry eyes.
And then we had a little breather, didn't we, on the Sunday? We had Polly didn't, because she went pumpkin picking with her grandchildren. And then Monday, it was back to group. And it was dress up time, wasn't it? It was dress up time for our group, because every year around the Halloween week we do a little bit of dress up, and we do a little bit more spooky
role play,
a bit role playing, and a bit spookiness in the best sense as well. We do best intention. We do not antagonise spirit or anyone else, and we do not do anything unsafely, as our group members know. In fact, the feedback for that was good, because we had a lot of new members this year.
Did, and we were doing a little bit of table tipping, which they absolutely loved, didn't they?
Yeah,
they love the table tipping. We have got footage of the table tipping. We're not releasing it because
we don't release anything from group on Facebook or any other, because it's not fair. It's private to the group. But it was great, but again exhausted.
Yeah.
So I went as the Grim Reaper. Polly went as
I was Wednesday Addams.
She was Wednesday Addams, yeah, she always looks better. But I'm sort of like half.
I spent all of £3.62 on my costume.
Yeah, I probably spent all of £5 something. Didn't take a lot to black out my eyes and put the Grim Reaper mask on.
She did freak me out at one point because for some reason she thought I'd gone into trance when we were doing a séance, and then I looked around to see if she was all right, and she was staring at me with black eyes and black teeth and black roundy face. I was like,
yeah, a lot of black.
Freak me out.
So we thought today, because we've had quite a few serious subjects, haven't we? We've talked about mental health, anxiety, we sort of went on about the NHS. We went from all light and fluffy on our first episode of who would you sit on the bench with, straight into heavy subjects that are going on in the world. And we could definitely talk about a lot of heavy subjects. But we thought, as it is Halloween on Friday, and it is very well celebrated in the States, and England is becoming much more on that ball now. Everywhere you go, people are dressing their houses up, people are getting excited, even adults. We were on Monday. And you're seeing more and more of the Halloween stuff in the shops, and it has become, I think, quite organised over here. Because
it's fun though.
It is fun, and it's definitely fun for children. Definitely. When I took my older two to Florida many moons ago when they were young, and we did the whole Halloween thing, and I remember driving into the bank, because they have drive-through banks in America. This is going back. Drive-through banks. We drove through the bank. My friend had to get some money out because she lives out there. And I remember thinking then, drive-through banks, I wonder if ever that'd take off in America. And back then, we didn't even have drive-through takeouts like McDonald's. We didn't do that. So the fact that we still haven't got drive-through bank, I'm a bit disappointed with, but there you go. But we have
shut them all down, that's why.
Yeah, everything's drive-through in America. But I remember my kids absolutely loved it. The whole atmosphere of how the American
drive-through bank.
No, the Halloween. And then it's just come up on my phone 10 years ago. I cannot believe where the time goes. I took my youngest two, so the middle one seems to get best of both worlds, that one, and we went to New York. And although New York's a little bit more of a busier city, there was still Halloween pumpkins and stuff put in on the street. But obviously, you're talking a city like London, everyone's on the go. Not everyone's not particularly friendly. Everyone's rush. But there was still that Halloween-y feel, but nothing to like Florida. Florida was literally out of this world. So I've experienced Halloween a few times out in the States, and it's still got a much better atmosphere than as
we were talking about it. Me and my brother were talking about it actually, I think yesterday on the phone, and we were talking because I'd been pumpkin picking with my grandchildren, and we were saying never when we were children did we go pumpkin picking. That wasn't a thing. I can't even remember having.
I don't even remember anyone growing pumpkins back in the day.
Marrow.
They grew a marrow, but it's the wrong colour.
I can remember having pumpkins for my oldest, who's 34. I can remember doing pumpkins then, because if you had a pumpkin outside your house, it meant that you could knock on the door and trick or treat. I remember doing that. However, I still don't remember really taking him trick or treating an awful lot. Other two, 26 and who are now 26 and 23. Now, we did do Halloween with them. It was a lot of, we had Halloween parties with their friends. We were making like potions for their drinks, so different sorts of fizzy drink and worms in it.
I remember doing the parties for the older kids, because me and my cousins, we all had children around the same age. So we always took it in turns to do parties. And I actually used to run a big party for Christmas and Halloween. I used to hire a hall. She couldn't get away with doing that because of health and safety. And I'd have a DJ come in, and so I used to do that because it was easier to get everyone in one place than it was to try and who's going to do it this year. But I don't remember doing pumpkins until Amy was born, the middle one, and she's 32, I think. But it was still the same rule. You didn't knock anyone's door unless there was pumpkins outside or do that decorations, because obviously it still scares a lot of people. Old people especially, where our houses are all built up in England and we're all next to each other, they're just knock, aren't they? Where in America they've got much bigger, they've got drives, they're separated, so people can see that they're putting stuff outside, and you know it's trick or treat central out there. But here, I think people, I mean, obviously it's going to start in the next couple of days, people knocking on the door. People still need to be mindful of older people, or even people that just don't want to participate. If there's nothing out there, don't knock on the door.
No, don't. I remember when I was a kid, and I remember...
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at our guest today.
My guest?
No, our guest behind. She's staring in. I noticed this on a previous recording. People think she's Medusa. She's not. She has not got hair like me either. She is actually Venus, the goddess of love.
I'm your Venus.
But she's just poked her head round. I swear she turned to have a look. She's
she's like over our shoulders.
But someone mentioned it in one of the last podcasts, because not our one on tour last week when we was at someone else's crib.
We're back.
We're back
at my daughter's house last week.
Yeah, she was mortified that we were going around podcasting. But she's just popped. Look, she's there staring. Look at her.
Yeah, she's
But
like,
she is not Medusa, for anyone that asks that again. She is the goddess of love, and she's one of my favourite statues.
Hasn't helped you much.
No, no, it hasn't.
I'm only
But
joking. We love
I
her.
choose to be loveless.
Yeah.
Because I find it easier after 2 husbands.
I was only joking.
Yes.
Anyway.
I'm young, free,
When-
and very much like being on my own.
When we were kids, I remember asking if I could go trick-or-treating with my dad, and my mum said absolutely not. It was like, they said, no, it's begging, you shouldn't go around to people's houses and blah, blah, you know, and I remember the sort of odd occasion when I was speaking to my brother yesterday, he said that he did remember somebody putting a fireworks through the door, I think probably because my dad had said, stop it. And but I can't actually remember that, so I said I don't know if I was actually living there still, because I moved away when I was 17. So we weren't ever allowed to go, but I remember going anyway with this girl Sally who lived down my road, and I remember knocking at somebody's door and we said trick or treat. We obviously hadn't even got a cheap 1970s 1980s mask or anything, and they went trick, and obviously we hadn't pre-planned this at all, so we hadn't got a trick, so we just walked off. That was the end of that.
That's what you get for being deceitful behind your parents'
Well, I
back.
know, it was karma.
But we were saying, because obviously Halloween is celebrated for children, and it's, like I said, it's made a big thing, but it actually is part of the pagan. Now, am I getting this right? My phone's recording, so
I think it's pagan pre-Christian.
It is pagan pre-Christian calendar. It's the same as the equinox, isn't it? Back then, they would have, everything was done around these periods on their calendar, not like our calendar. So there is history behind it in the spiritual nature. There is also the belief, Holly can vouch for this, being pre-Halloween witch.
Yeah.
That
30th.
the vow on the 31st, and when we say the vow, that is between us and the spiritual world, is finna. So they believe that people that are more spiritually aware are more connected to spirit or higher presence than they would normally be during the year. Now, we had, you said you do feel it. I said I do not.
Feel it.
I do not.
Yeah, you feel it at a different
I
time, don't
feel
you?
it on the equinox, the autumn equinox, because I am born on the autumn equinox. So I'm on the birth of autumn, and I feel my vow much, much nearer. My connections. That said, from the autumn equinox up until Halloween, I do actually have a lot more visions going on. So it's like the autumn equinox for me is like a little opening of, okay, it's your time. This is when you flourish. And I constantly have this stuff upgrading until Halloween. And then mine sort of shuts down. I mean, it doesn't shut down totally, because obviously I wouldn't be able to work, would I? But it sort of shuts down. And it's almost like I've pre-done it before everyone else starts thinking they're doing it on the
And
hand.
maybe other people do, but because you're thinking about a certain date being Halloween, that you're perhaps more connected. I definitely feel the run up to it. Obviously, I don't see it as just one day. It's just not one day. It's like not like Christmas Day. You know, it's like today is Christmas Day. Halloween is a date, yes, but I do.
Well,
feel
if you went in the shops now, you'd probably
on
think
the-
it was Christmas Day, because they've probably already got the Christmas stuff
probably.
out. We haven't even done Halloween and bonfires.
Watching with the grandkids stayed overnight, hence the reason I probably have got bags under my eyes. Love them dearly. But yeah, I can definitely feel the feeling up to Halloween and beyond Halloween. As in, I feel way more connected. I feel way more like the readings that come through are like proper out there as well. Even last night, and I text a person, which I'm obviously not going to name on here, I had a very, very vivid dream about somebody's relative in spirit last night with a specific message, text them, and she went, that makes total sense. And so, yeah, it's interesting how even it was almost like they were knocking on the door of that person who wasn't listening at 2:30 in the morning. I had to listen.
So I wonder then, because obviously we are spiritual, we work spiritually, so we are more aware of, even though we're not pagans, we are aware of the pagan calendar. And I mean, we've got friends that are obviously working more on that route, so they'd know more about, because what's it?
Samhain. I think people say it differently.
Yeah, Samhain is the official title for Halloween, actually. And you will see people post things that are more witchy, because it is about the witches used that calendar, didn't they, back in the day? So, and then people see it spooky, and I think that's where Halloween all comes about, because it's meant to be spooky, because it's witches, and actually we're all quite normal. Most of us are quite normal on a normal level. I mean, we're not walking around looking green, are we, with bent noses and
with the
the odd walk? Well, we were when we were in dress up. But I wonder how many non-spiritual people, and I don't mean like they're not spiritual, because I believe everyone is, they just aren't aware of it. But I wonder how many other people that go about their day-to-day business and get these little inklings or feelings and don't realise it is that opening of the vow, or they feel a loved one nearer to them, but they dismiss it because they don't believe in all of this, because obviously we get that a lot, even with clients. They go, I don't believe it. Quite sure why you're sat opposite me then, but anyway.
I actually love those readings, I've got to be honest. Because, I love them, because not because I'm trying to prove anything, because when they do get something that makes total sense, whether that's with the tarot or whether it's with mediumship, and I don't know that person, then brilliant. You know what I mean? It's good for them, because I think it opens their eyes.
That's good, because it stops somebody. We've had people sit in our demonstrations, haven't we? And especially men. We're not dissing men, because we get a lot of men through the doors now, don't we? But we get men that have come totally oblivious to what we do, come probably because the wife said come along, and at the end of it gone, why? Oh my, that made perfect sense. So it is nice when you get that, because it's nice to see people suddenly stepping out of their comfort zone and actually starting to see there is more to what you see in front of your eyes. Because I think a lot of people are black and white there, aren't they?
When we used to be on a spiritual channel, a YouTube channel, it was amazing how many people just came on for shits and giggles.
Oh yeah, but also
then ended up
and a lot of people came on, especially during COVID times, because they were lonely indoors and they had, they only had TV or YouTube to watch, and then the spiritual channel was dishing out all sorts of programs, which actually were really. I mean, I did psychic counselling on one of my shows there. And it was much more serious, and it helped a lot of people with a lot of stuff going on, especially during a time that was massively affecting us emotionally. So it's interesting how, like you said, people fall into it. They fall into that. They fell into watching stuff. They might be falling into watching this and thinking, what have I fell into? We had a gentleman, actually, that walked into the fair on Saturday that looked totally out of his comfort zone. I actually wondered if he was with the Inland Revenue or somebody. Because he walked in, and I'm like, I don't miss a trick. I noticed him, and he looked out of his comfort zone, and I thought, does he meant to be here, or is he? And he even came in after our talk. You went off because you had something to do, but he came in after our talk while I was talking to women that were coming up asking questions, and he was just looking all around the room. The room was emptying because we'd done our talk. He'd missed the best bit. And people were leaving, but obviously some were coming up to me to ask me questions because Polly had to go off for something else. And I thought, is he checking this out, or is he lost? And it turns out he had walked in, not sure what he'd walked into, paid his entrance fee.
Oh, bless him. I hope he hadn't come for something else.
No, and he actually was asking questions, because I asked somebody, does anyone know who he is? And because I was thinking, is he okay, and should we be worried?
Yeah, maybe he was looking for someone else.
And he admitted he'd walked in, I think he was local, and he walked in to see what the hell was going on, basically, and he actually quite liked the vibe. So then started asking people what we were all doing there, and obviously, which was nice as well, because I think he bought raffle tickets. And our raffle was for the Rowans. So local to us in Portsmouth is the Rowans Hospice, which is an amazing place, all charity run for cancer patients at the end of life, but also to support family as well. And I think people forget about the family that need that support. So our raffle donations all went to the Rowans. We actually find out today how much we made altogether. So that'd be nice. We can announce that then. But it was really nice to see that he'd done that. But at first I thought, what's he doing? So there's a prime example of a complete stranger who's probably not spiritual. Right near a church. So he could have been very churchy, for all we know. And he's walked around in like he's in the Twilight Zone, but actually participated. I do believe he actually bought some things off people.
Did he?
Yeah. And Sarah got him for the
first I know about it.
Well, I don't, me, I'm like eyes and ears. I'm like the Rottweiler. I'm still spiritual with my level-headed head, so I'm watching everybody, keeping an eye on everybody, and I just spotted him straight away, and he looked out of his comfort zone. It just goes to show how people do fall into this line of work and think, what's going on, and pop in just to see, and then actually get quite... Because spiritual is not what everyone thinks it is. I know us tarot readers get a bad rep, but spiritual is about just having a different way of life and a little bit more relaxed in... I mean, we all joke about my life is literally horrendous, but my spiritual belief makes me cope better with what sometimes I think I shouldn't be coping with. So it is like a faith, but it's not spiritualism for me, because that's not...
No, I'm not a spiritualist by any means of
but
the word.
It's my way of coping. And I, even when something bad happens, say to myself, well, there's got to be a reason behind it, because all bad things, when a door shuts, another door opens for whatever reason, and at times that's hard, isn't it, to acknowledge?
It is, because a lot of times when people come to us for readings, something might have just gone horribly wrong. It could have been that they were made redundant. It could have been that the relationship just ended. It could have been, somebody just passed away. Sometimes, they're seeing it as the worst of the worst of the worst, what's going on around them. And really what they want is some hope. You can't make hope up. However, with the tarot and with what we do, sometimes it is could be a lesson. It could be the fact that situation has ended quite abruptly because something else or someone else is coming around the corner, that basically if they'd stayed in that stale, stagnant situation for much longer, they'd never have that opportunity if the way hadn't been cleared. No. And people, like you said, if something happens now, you've got to sit there and almost like allow yourself a day or so,
or two, or three if it's one of my dramas.
Have a cry, or sort yourself out. You've got to release emotion at the end of the day.
Crying's good. Crying's good for people. I tell all my clients that out there.
But we're rubbish. We don't cry in front of each other. We cry and then we phone each other up and tell each other we cried. I cried. Did you? What's wrong? That sort of thing. But I don't advise that. I'd rather just cry. The time with what we do, it is the healing aspect of it, and showing people that sometimes that worst thing that you felt could have happened could actually be one of the best things that happened. And I'm not talking about some things are awful in life, and unfortunately life happens and loss happens, but at the same time there's other things in life that feel like a massive deal, but are they a massive deal? Probably, once you get your head around the fact that you've got this better option perhaps coming along, that actually life could be 10 times better than it was.
Sometimes I don't even think it's the better option, because sometimes, and like I said, we do cry. I think people think we're like nothing happens to us and we're really all like, but we cry. If we didn't experience some of these things, we wouldn't be able to listen to other people's. I mean,
you can't be empathic if you have no idea.
Me as a spiritual counsellor, if I don't understand some of the situations they're going through, how on earth could I actually even help them without understanding it? And I think I've pretty much touched every situation. I think I have. Crying is good. It's a way of releasing stuff, but also I think for me, and last Thursday was probably one of my, even though we continued recording, we did record this, not the Thursday just gone, but the one before, when I got the phone call to say my mum was now taken to ICU and they were going to put her to sleep. They were going to intubate her and put her to sleep because they thought that was the best thing for her to help her breathe in. I left her sat up, very poorly, but I left her sat up the night before. So I'm sat, still in my PJs, exhausted, thinking, you've just told me what? Sorry, what? In the background of that, I had another personal situation going on with my granddaughter, which is ongoing and actually is quite upsetting for all of us, especially my son. So I had that going on that very morning, unpleasantries back and forth from the other side of the family. And then there was I had a client, didn't I, that we'd had that I was uncomfortable with anyway, that was then threatening my life. And I remember sitting there thinking, just a regular Thursday morning. My mum's in ICU, they're going to put her to sleep to help her breathe. I got death threats from a client, and my 11-year-old granddaughter was sending, not particularly nice messages, but also there was lots of stuff going on. It was her birthday, so I think I felt sorry for her more than anything, because she can't have been enjoying her birthday with all that emotion floating around. And then my brother rang about my mum, and I'm the middle child, but I'm always the one that takes care of everybody. Always have, did it with my dad, And he's rang, and so I can update him, because I was down as next to kin for my mum. And I remember I just burst into tears, and I said to him, I can't cope. I cannot cope. And he went, okay, I'll do it for you, which was nice, because he doesn't, not saying he doesn't, but we have different ways. He has his role to play and I have mine, but I'm always the one that copes, sorts everyone out, keeps everyone calm, and then I'll go away and sort myself out in private. But I actually just had an absolute full-on meltdown. And I think sometimes they need to see that, because my brother probably thought, oh, if she's crying, she definitely needs some coping. And I had a cup of tea and I pulled myself together, and within an hour I was at the hospital gathering everyone around for my mum, and I was back into my sorting everyone out mode. And I don't know how we went on to do a podcast the next day, and we were doing other stuff, and we got to the fair. But that shows that no one knows what's going on in someone's life. And even when we're doing what we're doing, we have our own human and own personal stuff going on in the background.
Oh, absolutely.
And we are much more aware of that when we are working for people, especially in healing and stuff like that, because we're empaths, so we feel people's pain and upset, but we understand more than I think people realise we understand, because we are probably experiencing or have experienced something very similar. And that makes us more wanting to help people because we know how that feels.
And all you spiritual people out there, and when I say spiritual, obviously we're talking about those who are probably, in working in spiritual practices and holistic therapists and readers and in any sort of capacity of actually being a therapist. You don't become something like this unless you are empathic. You don't become something like this unless you've experienced. And you often feel like a lot of the spiritual people have actually very, very, very hard lives, because again, as we spoke about, you have to be able to, you have to have experienced to understand. And there's certain things that I haven't experienced, however, I can empathise with. Probably the same as you, even though I'd say that you've probably had few more.
I've tried
dramatic fingers.
When I signed my contract in my previous life, when I went back as a soul, and they went, oh, guess what, Jane? We haven't finished with you. You're going back again. Oh, am I really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Are you really?
How many lives am I going to have?
I'm just going to chuck in a few more dramas.
And this is your lessons this time. And then I pull out the toilet roll and you unroll it and I go, have I not learned any of these lessons yet? And maybe we'll talk about life lessons, past life lessons and karmic resonance and another thing. But that's how I feel that they did. They pulled out a toilet roll. And then when I'm sitting here, and we talked about doing Ascension today, but we thought that might be a bit too heavy with Halloween and all that. But when I did my Ascension work after my healing training, and I remember thinking, blimey, what, I signed up for that. There are times even I sit here and think, well, I actually signed up for this. I actually agreed in a previous time before I came here, I'm going to learn all these lessons. That seems a bit harsh, but I do like a challenge.
Well, yeah.
I think I've worked that out. I do like a challenge.
I think so.
Yes, but it is hard, and it's hard for us to explain that to our clients as well, isn't it? That when someone, and we obviously do get this, unfortunately, when someone's lost somebody or they're just about to lose somebody, that is such a delicate time for people, isn't it? But, grief, there's no window on grief. It's different for everyone. It affects everyone differently. Everyone copes with it differently. So no one has the right to say, come on, you should be getting over with that now. You're never going to forget losing a loved one. Never.
Absolutely not.
You learn to cope day to day and just learn to manage with them. Forget them. You can't get over it.
It is funny how, because obviously of what we do and what I do, and when my mum was very, very ill and with cancer, because I know how she was and how she would have hated to live in the state she was living. When by the time she was she was ready to go, and I wanted what she wanted. So, and I think because I was living in Hayling Island, I was going heavily pregnant every weekend, and for a long time with. I'd also got other children, and I was pregnant with my youngest, so I couldn't be there all the time because I've got the children at school or one at nursery and what have you, and working. But I think I grieved all the way up to the point until she passed.
I think when someone's ill like that,
I actually felt relieved that she'd gone for herself. And I know that's probably a strange thing to say, or some people might find that a strange thing to say, but at the same time, I know if it was me, I'd hope the same. I'd hope that if I was in that situation that, that I'd left everyone all right. When I say that, I haven't got lots of money, so I don't expect much kids. But I'm talking about, physically sort of being able to tell them, explain to them that if I was in any sort of state like that I'd want to go, and hopefully I would have helped them perhaps come to terms with that. as much as possible. Money-wise, no, they haven't got a hope now.
I think this is what I mean. When someone comes and they've lost somebody and they can't get past that point, it's how do we, well, we can't. We have to be so careful how we word things. You can't tell that person, well, that was your partner's life lesson. That's what they've done.
Or, their fate.
Yeah, their fate, because they're in grief and they're trying to cope with that. And so I know people can diss readers and mediums. They think we're giving out false information, but we can't be giving out false information if people understand the information we're giving them, especially in a demonstration of mediumship, because we don't know your loved ones from Adam.
We don't even know who's there until we get there.
No, so we can't be making that information up. But reading, a tarot reading, we've seen people that have maybe been, how can we put it? They have ways of reading the room more than reading the person.
Yes.
And people can give too much away without realising it. If I have a client that goes to do that, I actually go, oh, stop, hang on a minute, because you've paid me to do this, not the other way around. So you have to sort of stop them a little bit. Sometimes you need a bit of information because they want something specific for you to tell them. So you need a bit of information for you to dive into that. But on the whole, we don't really want any information. We want to tell you what we're seeing. But it is hard. It is hard in anything, even with, like, even in a job. I remember telling a young man, again, a lovely young man that was recommended to come to me, totally didn't believe in any of this, but he came anyway, and he sat there, he went, I've just come to see what it's all about, because I think it's rubbish. And I told him that his business partner was not the business partner he thought it was, and to go back and look at the books and a few other things, and I was right. Obviously.
But that pissed him off.
No, he was absolutely...
No, the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy probably wish he'd come to me first, but there you go. And he said, do you know what, I was so cynical, but he said, you were such a nice person, but also what you told me was brilliant, because I actually went and sorted my business out, and I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't, because he trusted him. And I didn't do it to spite the other person, but this man needed to know what was going on to his business.
Well, the thing is, people get greedy.
But again, you've got to be careful how you word that. I mean, what if your business partner was his oldest best friend? I don't think it was. I
His dad.
His dad, his brother. You know, we still have to be mindful how we're wording that. And I know I've had people come and go, I want you to tell me about my partner, my boyfriend. What are they up to? What are they doing? And I've gone,
well, do you remember that one?
Yeah, I was just going to get to that.
Yeah.
I'll go, well, they haven't come for the reading. I'm very, I am. I do it when we used to do lives. I will only give so much information because I think, well, hang on, that other person didn't ask you to dive into their situation. That's
in some ways, but it depends. I mean, if somebody's worried about their child,
to a degree, but if they're an adult, sometimes I have to sort of draw that line. I think that's
spying on somebody is a
completely
no-no.
So the spying bit, Polly.
It was a genuine thing. It was a genuine mistake.
She thought she'd recommend someone to me.
No, it's because they put it on Facebook. Does anyone know anyone that's good at remote viewing?
And I can remote view. What a pain. I never even knew it had a title till a few years back. And someone said to me, do you know that's remote viewing? I went, oh, is that? I just thought that was part of my clairvoyance, but there you go. So I can remote view with a little bit of telepathy. Telepathy. Which is handy now, because I wish I'd tuned into that a bit more when I was married. But hey ho, that's why I haven't got another husband, because they're all scared of what I'm going to see. But it's an absolutely brilliant tool to have, used in the right way. I say. But it's sometimes a curse for me, because I see things I really don't want to see. But this person wanted me to spy on their boyfriend. They said was their boyfriend. They wanted me to go into their boyfriend's home and see who was in there. There was a lot of other stuff they asked me to do, and I actually went, well, no, can't do that. And I knew instantly in my psyche that this wasn't even a boyfriend. It was like a what do you call it, online dating acquaintance, and actually given a false...
So there hadn't even been
So they hadn't even met. I'd only been chatting online, and he'd given a false name as well. I did give her that much. And they weren't even an item. So, no, I was not going...
That's a bit creepy.
That was actually... That's stalkering in a whole... Stalkerish.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing, and it just shows how where we started working online, which a lot of us started doing in COVID times. When you start working online, everything's online. Your dating's online, your shopping's online. You know, we work online abroad. We've got people that we work with across the States when we're doing our spirit release, and Australia, Dubai, and God knows where else. So we know that online's great, but actually, this whole online dating, catfishing they call it, don't they now? Oh, I don't know.
The catfish. Oh dear, have you ever watched
Catfish? Has got apparently
it's just the funniest.
But he had done that because he'd given false information. But she said they had this connection. Well, don't think they did. And the fact that she thought they had a connection she thought she had the right to go and pay somebody. I mean, I only spoke to her, so I didn't charge her. I didn't have anything to do with her. I actually told her it was unlawful in my book and actually unethical, but despite what people think of us readers. And she said, well, I've been reading up on it anyway, remote viewing, and I'm teaching myself. Well, good luck with that, because I don't think there's a lot of things we're born with spiritually, but there's some things that some of us will only be able to do for whatever reason. Don't ask me why. Teach yourself remote viewing, you're heading for a nasty fall,
if you're going to use something in the best interest of something, for example, it does come up in things like readings or demos where you've scanned like the person that has passed away's house.
Yes, make sure you tidy out your house if you come to me, because I can see it. I can see it.
But there's let's say it could be useful. However, used in the wrong way, and if you are fanatical about somebody, you are going to be making things up in your head anyway. Yeah. Okay, it's all your ego. It's what you want to know. It's what you want to think. It's what you want to think.
I declined. You know what I'm like? I've got very strict ground rules. Had it when we worked on the TV channel. I have it with the demos. If I think it's too personal, I tell them to come and talk to me afterwards. I've got a very strict line. I'm a very personal person myself, despite my laughs and jokes about things, and I'm open about what goes on in my life. But when I'm personal and private, I truly am. So I keep myself quite private, don't I? So when that happens, I am much more like, whoa, this is not good. But it opens up the doors to me. We've had it with spirit release work where people think they can go and cleanse people's houses and be gone, you demons, but they've actually brought in 50 more demons in the mix.
Because they've probably got more attachments.
Yeah, because they didn't know what they were doing in the first place. And it just shows me that, again, with the spiritual work of mediums and psychics, I'm not going to say healers, although there's probably a few dubious ones of them, but mainly psychics and mediums, how dangerous that can be in the wrong hands with the wrong people when they're not working with respect and sense of integrity.
This is just a reading I had, and you were there. You were, I think, behind me in this.
I was there remotely, popped in.
No, she was actually physically there. And she sat behind me at this fair, and I decided to, or next to anyway, by the by. And I had a reading with somebody at this fair, and they said, this is the first time they've ever gone out in the public like this and had done readings, as in at a fair. So I said, thinking, that'd be nice to sort of support her. She's new to the club, even though she said she was doing them at home and had done for years and years and years. The most negative reading I think I've ever had. It was negative start to finish. My partner was going to be leaving me, then something else was going to be kicking off, and something else was kicking off, and then something else kicking off in the family, and then I was supposed to be getting married to the partner that had left me. So I was really confused by the end of it.
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
And I literally, then, I'd done this before all of my clients had come and sat down at the table. All day that affected me. All day thinking, it was just that it was because it was so confusing as well as negative. And I remember going to one of our friends who is a very well-known tarot reader around here. And I said, look, I just want you to tell me, I want a reading. I just want you to tell me anything. So if it's bad, tell me, okay? If something bad is going to happen with it, me or friendships or relationships or what have you, I want you to just lay it on the line. Tell me what you're seeing. Anyway, so she did, because, I trust her, and I've gone to her for readings for a long time. And no idea what I'm talking. She was obviously looking at me like, what's the big deal? What's the crack here? You know what I mean? When she actually did give me this reading, she touched on one thing that this woman had said, one thing, and it was nothing to do with my partner, nothing at all. But it was something to do with somebody I was working with at the time. And she said, there's no drama. You're just going to walk away from it because you're going to understand that if you don't, the drama will come. So you're just going to walk away with grace. And that's the sort of person I am.
It was me, but she still hadn't taken the hit. No, she's still working with me.
And so from what this...
Yeah. We know it's dangerous.
If that's somebody else, I can sort myself out. I can think, do you know what? That, it might have a little bit of truth in it. And who knows? We live every single day. And even if you do your own cards, you're not going to know exactly what's going to come up.
Well, it's hard, isn't it? Because we've got our own mind in there. But when you're reading for somebody, whether you use cards, crystal balls, runes, palm reading, you name it, there's so many, or just sit and read somebody's energy. Aura.
Yeah.
It isn't guesswork. It isn't guesswork. I hate it when people say we're guessing. It's not guesswork. We're getting something. But what we haven't mastered, and And it is true. You are born a psychic. I learnt the hard way. We talked about this last week. I really struggled with what I could see and do. So I tried shutting it down. But you are born with spiritual ability and use your psychic ability. How that develops over the years into adulthood is entirely up to that person. And maybe they're not meant to develop it, and that's their path, what they chose. Spiritual psychic side is there, and if you do enhance it, but you still need to understand it. You can't go, oh yeah, I can read tarot. Oh yeah, I'm a medium, I can do this. Look, there's a lot of people I've seen can do things, but if you don't understand why you're doing them, or you listen a little bit closer to where that's coming from, you are a walking time bomb.
Yeah.
So anyone that comes towards you to get that information, if you haven't nurtured your ability to understand it, and believe you me, I took a long time, didn't I, nurturing mine, because I was so stubborn trying to understand it.
The amount of things I said, you're going to be doing that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But even
And
like
she
the
did.
tarot, I had tarot at 13, probably around 13, I can't remember how old I was, and I still would refuse when Ness used to say to me, you're a tarot reader, you're a natural tarot reader. No, I'm not. But I had them when I was young, so something drew me to pick them up. When even reading my cards, I got better and better and better at it. Well, I think I did. People might go, no, she didn't. But I think I did, because I started to understand it, and I started to understand me, and I started to relax more of it. But also, I trained as a conventional counsellor years and years ago, and I went back and did the spiritual counselling because that side of it is very much me. But I went and did that because I wanted to understand how I delivered my readings. And it's the same with the mediumship. I want to make sure when I'm delivering a message, I hate being a 40-50% person in mediumship. I want to give more, because you've come to see me, and I'm up on that stage for a reason. So I want to make sure I've delivered a service,
and with integrity, and with honesty.
I just think it's worrying how many. I'm all for people, because we teach a group and we love seeing them grow, and we love seeing them going out on their own and doing things, and that's great, because we'd like to think we've taught them the integrity and the way to do it. But there is too many people out there now picking up a pack of tarot cards, doing a quick course, going, oh yeah, I'm a tarot reader now, and going bang, bang, bang straight out there. I mean, all my readings were free back in the day, because I still didn't.
It's like also the international medium.
And yeah, so we're international mediums, apparently, because we read to international people. But we have never left this country to read internationally.
I have read in Spain.
Oh, you've read in Spain when you've visited relatives.
Spain,
all right, yeah.
And Turkey.
Well, okay, I've read in Florida when I used to visit my friends, but that was for free, so I'm not going to count that. But we constantly work internationally with our spirit release work. We are not international mediums that way, are we? We are mediums that work internationally, but when people go, I'm an international medium, unless they've set foot on foreign soil and worked, we know some of our colleagues have, and actually worked internationally. Stop putting international in front of your name. And actually, those that do that, don't put it in front of their name.
Does it count if you go to the Isle of Wight?
I don't think it does. I think even if we go across any sort of water, unless it's international waters, it doesn't count. It is so frustrating, because you are bigging up your ego. You are bigging up what I work internationally. People don't need to know that. They need to know you work with integrity. I'd rather see integral tarot reader than international tarot reader. So
I think it's just to bring people in, and to be honest, I mean, if they really have, great. But same as you, if they have gone to other countries to work, I mean, great for them. I really don't care. What I care about is the fact that I've gone for a reading that means something.
Yeah, as long as it's delivered properly. Yeah.
Gives me maybe a connection to my mother in spirit, or anybody else that wants to come through.
It's a bit like I met someone that said, oh yeah, have you seen me on TV? No, I don't really watch a lot of TV unless it's crime or horror. We're not meant to watch horror apparently, but I love a bit of horror, and I love a bit of crime and thriller. And then they went, oh yeah, and then their advertising was as seen on TV. So I thought like proper TV. I thought, who is it? And they weren't on TV. They were on a spiritual channel, like we were. And you might find them on YouTube, but they weren't on there as much as us. So we're actually on there more.
If you do Google Polly Harnett and Jane Morton, if you Google us, you will find many, many, many videos of us doing strange things.
Strange things when we worked under the SPTV bubble, which we were proud to work under, and we're very grateful to have worked under. We gave our time up for free. That was all voluntary, and we enjoyed doing it, especially during COVID, because it helped a lot of people. we did the Sunday Sofa, which was like Loose Women Gone Wrong. So that's a great one to watch. That is the reason for the podcast, let's be fair, because a lot of the viewers from there were sad when we both stepped away from it because of our personal and work commitments. And after 3 years, we were badgered so much, we said, okay, let's go do a podcast. We haven't got the same technology as our lovely producer had on SPTV, but we were very proud to have been part of that family and what it offered to people. But yeah, we are on YouTube.
Where we are now.
Yeah, we are on YouTube. We can't get off that. And funny enough, and we would have been on Facebook until Facebook changed the rules. But I remember my cousin's little girl saying to her mum one day, Mummy, Jane's on telly. She went, what? She went, Jane's on telly. And she'd been flicking through children YouTube and come across SPTV. I don't know how she'd gone from one to the other. And there I was on the big screen. So to this young girl, she thought I was on telly because on her TV, well, I was technically on telly. Yeah. And I laughed. I went, I never, and this is where you, not ignorance of me, but I don't take anything overly seriously. But that is there, isn't it? It's always going to be there. Like, these are there now, whether you like us watching us or not, they're going to be there.
We're going to keep going as well, so you guys will get used to it.
So we're going to be either on the big, I mean, I don't know about, if we went to the Big Apple internationally and we walked through Times Square and we see ourselves on that big screen, then we've hit the big time, haven't we? We've hit the big time if we're on Times Square's thing, but I don't think somehow that's going to happen in this time. It is time, isn't it? It's time. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. We wanted it a bit more light. We've had a couple of heavy sessions, and we thought with Halloween we'd keep it a little bit fun and go a little bit spiritual. Someone asked me the other day why we're not pulling cards on these podcasts.
Because we do it all day, every day.
That's what I do. She does. I don't.
I do.
I'm a disabled part-time semi-retired person. That's what I call myself, but I'm older.
No, we've been there. We've done that on the TV, on the channels. We are moving with the times. We want to talk. We want to chat. There's loads and loads and loads of people out there pulling cards. If you want to look at TikTok, there's thousands of them. Some of them are good, some aren't. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But the
plus our channel wasn't just because we're two psychic mediums, it was because we're two very down to earth, like to chat human beings that have a lot of views on things,
not scared of what we're talking,
with a spiritual nature. So it's not just about that. So unfortunately, no, there'll be no card pulling or messages out there for loved ones. We do occasionally do the odd live on Facebook for that, occasionally. This is more to get across our views, to talk about things and to help anyone out there listening that has asked us to come back on and talk. I don't know why.
I tell you what, we get to 1,000 subscribers and we'll do it live.
But yeah, if we get more people subscribing, then we'll throw a live in every now and again with some mediums, and then you can all comment as we're live as well, because obviously these are pre-recorded.
So do share us out.
Yes, and on that note, we will let you love and leave you. Enjoy your Halloween nights. When this goes out, it would have already happened. And then everyone
will be 55.
She'll be 55 and I'll still be 59 and I still look younger. It's tropic, tropic. It's the genes. And on that note, we will say goodbye for now.